And interestingly, it was like, there was a lot of reflection on the wedding, which is a great day. And what I want to do was like, I'd love to... Chickens go crazy.
What is going on?
What I want to do is just kill some chickens. Welcome to our podcast. This is a true, raw, unscripted insight into our lives captured from our intimate diary entries whilst we're figuring out this path of traveling the world and building our own businesses. On this week's episode...
Because, I do like a bit of goss.
I have no idea what you're talking about. What, are you nervous?
Still can't change a light bulb, mind.
Can you be in a couple and get ripped? A big cow was just chilling.
Oh, Zara. Yeah, clothes, shoes, accessories. Weird, when you go to ask me a question, I actually get butterflies. I get nervous
Really?
on what you're going to ask me.
Like a job interview.
Yeah.
It was awful. Like, we felt a shit in front of the mic. Welcome to episode 2. And first of all, thank you so much to those of you that have come back to us with feedback. It's been really, really welcome.
Yeah, if we don't get any feedback, we know we're doing something completely wrong. So even if it's shit, we want to hear.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, we're trialing loads of different topics, different formats. The podcast will probably change quite a lot over the first 10 or so episodes as we try to home in on kind of...
Yeah, that's the whole point,
the best format.
Just testing those different ways.
Yeah, so regardless of whether you think it's good or bad, or if there's areas that are unclear, then just please let us know. It's a huge help. Okay, let's now get into our first diary entry of this week's episode.
You may have seen in The Guardian that Bali was on a complete lockdown last week. So that meant no going outside, no mobile phones. For the first time ever, they cut access to any 3G, any Wi-Fi. It was literally illegal to go outside, to light a fire, to put any lights on, to make loud noise, to have any pleasure. Not that people would find out about that, but, the principle is there. And it's to mark the Balinese New Year. So it's now 1940 in Bali. And they go through this ritual over a couple of days. They have then a festival of sacrifice where they parade all of these huge statues and then set them on fire. It's quite a raucous affair, not very well planned, as we experienced, kind of sitting on a brick wall with a bintang for 3 hours waiting for these ooga-oogas to come past. It's not like your normal town carnival, but anyway, nevertheless, it was an experience. And the Day of Silence is kind of an old tradition where on the last calendar day, apparently bad spirits come down onto the island. So the Balinese people hide, not to draw attention to these bad demons. So that's why they shut themselves up for the day. They spend the day resting, meditating, and doing a lot of self-reflection. So as we're living Bali style, and our hosts were very much in the they're very religious, and they followed all of those rules, we wanted to do it too. And actually, we didn't have a choice because they cut off the Wi-Fi when we did attempt to go on in the evening, but don't tell anybody we did that. So I was very excited about it. I'm quite good at doing nothing and sitting and just being there. Whereas I'd really like to find out, Ross, how you found the day.
Tough.
Why did you find it tough?
Honestly, it was like, I was not even kidding. I was slightly anxious, weirdly.
You were very anxious. The day before, you kept saying...
The day before, I was
really
trying to plan, thinking what can I prep now that will keep me occupied? Because I just felt anxious.
Okay. And I guess another point is that we had to prep all of our food before, and we had to really think about everything because everything shuts. So it wasn't just the fact of not having Wi-Fi. It was literally everything: food, water.
Yeah. Do you know what it taught me though? I always have to be occupied.
Yeah.
And like, I remember, I mean, we haven't got a lift here, but I always remembered when I'd get home in the evening, back at home, and I would press the lift button, and it was a habit of mine that I would then reach my pocket and pull my phone out. Mm-hmm. And I was consciously thought about it then. How can I not even wait for the lift to come without having to look at my phone? Mm-hmm. And I'm like trying not to be obsessed with like technology. But yeah, I found it really, really difficult. I did. I was like down in the morning, went downstairs, you were still asleep, and I was just trying to practice, you know, self-reflection, which is kind of what the whole ethos of the day is about. A lot of thinking, and it was, you know, I lasted about 20 minutes before I had to get my notebook and start writing all the lessons down, because you know, I want to refer to them in the future. I found it hard just to be, as you seem to have found it easy, but it was good. I mean, we did some sunbathing, which probably isn't allowed, and you taught me a little bit about meditation, which is quite new.
How did you find the meditation?
So tough. Well, it was hard because it was so hot. So it was hard to get like totally comfortable when you're like
dripping,
sweating. Yeah. But yeah, it was okay. I mean, I've done it a little bit before. I've like done the Headspace app. I've done that for like 2 days, and you know, so I'm an expert. No, so I just struggled to kind of relax to that point.
What do you think it is? Is it because you don't feel like you're being productive, or you're wasting time?
It's exactly that. Well, I thought it was productive, but I actually realize now it's occupied. It's not just productive, because I mean, we don't watch any TV anymore here because it's just hard to watch it, and you know,
and we don't have one. We don't carry one.
Yeah, well, we could watch it on a laptop like Netflix, but we don't. But I remember back at home, I would watch TV quite a lot, and so that's a massive habit change from what I'm doing now to what I used to do practically every single evening.
Yeah.
But that's not productive. So it's not a case of I had to be productive. I had to be occupied. My mental space needs action, which I think is a result of, you know, technology and information overload from everywhere. You know, there was little random thoughts which drifted into my mind, and I would immediately want to just find out the answer. So I just wanted to reach for the phone and just quickly
what?
Google.
Can you remember?
No, it might have been about, for example, we were debating whether you could have fire or not.
Oh yeah.
So I heard that you're not allowed to even have fire, and therefore we haven't got a kettle, so therefore we couldn't have a coffee. And I was just down there on my own, and I thought, can you have fire or can you not? And my natural reaction was, just quickly have a look. And I couldn't have a look. I was completely stuck. And also what was fascinating about it is the whole day went by and it felt good, and it felt like a cool experiment, I guess, to be completely offline. But always that was in the knowledge that we were participating in this ritual. It was our conscious choice to participate. Now, it turned out that in our time zone, the Liverpool match was on at midnight. So come midnight, I went to check my phone just to make sure I had connection, because technically it was okay then. And they'd actually turned everything off. There was no internet provider, which I thought just completely shifted it from, hang on a minute, I thought we were being like nice and participant. Actually, we just like caged, you know, we were just being restricted. And it kind of changed it in my mindset from a very positive thing to like, how dare they take it away from me? So yeah, I had to watch the game on replay.
But you managed to watch it, and you were very pleased with the result, weren't you?
5-0, not bad.
So is there anything that it taught you about yourself or how to deal with those moments?
It taught me that currently my mind is programmed to be occupied, definitely, and that I do struggle with that, with not having anything. You know, even if I look at all the like leisure that I do and I have done, it's always with an aim. You know, I go to the gym and I'm I'm thinking about what I'm doing, and I'm, you know, working out, or when I was playing football, I'm always on. If I'm in a car driving, then I was listening to a podcast or an audio book, you know, because I didn't want to just sometimes listen to music, but I didn't just want to drive and, you know, kind of waste that half an hour. So that process, day in, day out, of training myself to be what I thought really productive but very occupied, just meant it was really hard to do that.
Okay, so my turn to ask you a question. I would like to ask you how you are going to cope for the rest of your life with the feeling of never being satisfied.
Ooh. I don't know. How am I going to cope with it?
Yeah. How are you going to overcome it?
I don't know if I need to overcome it. I don't know if I'll ever overcome it.
Right.
So that's, I think, is interesting to see how it pans out.
Okay,
maybe. But what you're getting at is that I'm, you know, always striving for more, never satisfied, and like could 1 minute think I really want to do X, and then, you know, a day after doing it, I've already kind of moved on in my head.
I mean, sometimes it's not even a day; it's an hour.
Sometimes it's an hour. Yeah, it is. It is. So yeah, and there's definitely some kind of like internal racing of the mind. I've always had it. I've always had that, but I've kind of seen it as a mix of positive, because I'm looking on to the next thing and trying to progress. But I definitely see the, you know, potential downside with that. Mm-hmm. That you know, that you can never be truly content. Is it?
Yeah.
You know, there'll always. I think when you say how will I overcome it, it's to understand that there'll always be something and be happy anyway. Mm. Because if I naturally start to think, oh, when I get to there, then, you know, that'll be great. If I start thinking that way, which, you know, I naturally slip into sometimes, then that will only lead to sort of struggle, I think, because you'll get there and you'll be underwhelmed, and then you'll think, oh, but when I get to there, you know, and you'll never be happy kind of where you are. But if you understand that and just generally be grateful or pleased with what you're doing from day to day life, that you're moving forward, mm-hmm. and that, you know, you're just taking that in your stride, I guess that's the way to kind of change the perspective.
Mm-hmm. Do you think how you have been approaching this like internal feeling, do you think that that's been a help or a hindrance to your overall like progress? You aren't satisfied with your output a lot of the time, because I think you rush forward onto the next thing, or you get frustrated that it's not moving quick enough. I don't know why. But do you think that
the debate I've got,
that default has hindered you or helped you?
I think both. The debate I've got going at the moment is, if I'm not satisfied with something that I'm doing or my output, is that because I'm just not following it through properly, mm-hmm. and being very impatient, or is the thing not right for me? Mm-hmm. So I can look at loads of sort of things I've tried and then just like stopped, you know, given up on.
Yeah.
So it's that feeling of like failing or giving up and not properly seeing something through. Mm-hmm. Is it my fault for giving up on that, and have I got a problem there in terms of just following through, or is it, you know, was it not right for me? Uh-huh. I was listening to this guy the other day, and it was kind of really related, because he was saying that up until 30 he failed at literally every single thing, and he just never could. He was like in internal turmoil because he could not push ahead, and then at the end of it he realized that none of the things he was trying were his calling. Mm-hmm. So it just wasn't his calling. And so when he then found his calling, turned into, now very, very successful, etc., he looks back at all of those and is just grateful for them.
Yeah.
And so I kind of feel like I'm on that same path, really. But the thing is, some of the things I've done have worked and are successful. So that's the thing. It's like it's easy for me not to view them as that, because like you said, I'm just looking at the next thing.
Yeah.
I think there's some different types of people. I think if you look at the past, then obviously that's normally quite a negative. You're either constantly fixated on the past in a negative way, or you're very unhappy about a way you've been treated or something like that. That's kind of what I gather anyway. I don't look at the past. If you are fixated on the current, then you're very, very happy-go-lucky, sort of a free spirit that just enjoys the day. Mm-hmm. And I think they are probably the most happy people if you were to sort of rate them. And then you've got a class of people that look at the future, which is more me. I think I'm a mix of future and present. And the problem and the challenges you face of looking at the future, like I do, is that you're never happy where you are. You're never content. You're never, you never have sometimes I have a day and I go, this is really good. And I really try to be aware of the present day, but cannot help but look forward.
Yeah. If you don't have a minute to take in like what you've done, I think that isn't good for you. Yeah,
that's true. And sometimes I do, and I try to log in some sort of journal that I keep.
Yeah, so that's another interesting point. So on Monday, we decided to go back to Seminyak, which is where we spent the first part of our honeymoon. And Ross likes to journal kind of when you're getting on a plane generally, or every now and again.
Yeah, normally once a month-ish.
So
I try.
What did it say in your journal about the last time you were in Seminyak?
Well, last time we were in Seminyak was on our honeymoon, mm-hmm. and we were at our hotel, and I just write things like what I'm doing currently and what I want to do. Mm-hmm. And interestingly, it was like, there was a lot of reflection on the wedding, which is a great day. And what I want to do was like, I'd love to... Chickens go crazy.
What is going on?
What I want to do is just kill some chickens.
Honestly, they are so funny to
fighting?
watch.
Are they,
they're not fighting. But they... when they do their full cock-a-bloody-doodle-doo, they strain their little bodies, don't they? They almost go flat.
Like 5 a.m. every morning, isn't it? I've woken up so early.
I have not, actually.
Yeah,
they've just fallen into my everyday noise.
So I can't remember the full note, but it was something like, I want to construct a life where I can be location independent and, mm-hmm. And travel and stuff like that, because I guess that the main sort of learning that I had at the time is that when you're employed, and I was employed at the time, is that when you're employed, what you are doing by definition is trading your time for money. Why do you laugh?
Just the chickens. What's going on? Honestly,
hey,
they're just having
trying to have a serious conversation here.
God's sake.
You're trading your time for money. When you're employed, you're trading your time for money. So
you're not getting rich whilst you're employed, basically.
Well, yeah, much harder to get rich. Some people can get rich on big salaries, but the very, very minority. But
not necessarily get rich on money. I mean, get rich on like big experience.
Yeah, but it still remains that you're trading your time for money. So you turn up to work, and you are valuing your time based on your salary about how much that time is worth. Mm-hmm. Because as part of your contract, if you're like most people, it's got a number of hours in there per week. So that was a realization that I had at the time, and didn't like that, and wanted to look into and construct a way that I could do different things whilst still earning money. That didn't mean that I had to be there. And so, you know, passive income sometimes is like branded very negatively and almost like a scam. And you get so many Facebook ads and stuff about, oh, I earn 200 grand, you know, passive income. And, you know, I'm sure there are a lot of scammers out there. However, there are definitely ways to earn money without having to, you know, visit a work location for a number of hours per week.
Yeah, such as renting property.
I think properties is
property.
one of the classic ones that's been going for so many years,
Yeah. So what was interesting to me is that you were near on sat in the same seat in the same hotel that we'd gone back to visit 8 months later, and you'd basically done what you had written 8 months ago about what you wanted to achieve. You know, you put something out into the universe.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we're here.
Yeah.
But you can't take that in.
No, I was pleased with that. I was definitely pleased with that. I was, because I also didn't know that, you know, I would be back so quick, because that was like 8 months ago. I mean, I didn't think it would take years and years. When I wrote that, I wanted to get onto it straight away. But yeah, it was pleasing. It was quite nice that we were back there. But that doesn't mean that I, you know, take that in and just sort of, that's the only feeling I have. The other feeling I had is that, yeah, I'm there, but I'm not there as I want to be there. It's kind of
a lot easier to get back there than you imagine. Because actually, for me, it has been a lot easier than you think. You know, you sat there going, oh, God, I'd love to come back here. I'd love to live out here. Well, actually, it's not that. It's not that difficult.
Yeah, and also we're just what I consider at the start, in that, you know, we're living minimally and spending minimally, and, you know, we've got some income coming in and we're growing some stuff, but we're by no means able to do the things that we really want to do.
Yeah.
And I think that's why money is important, because it just allows you to do those things. Mm-hmm. So I said last time that I don't think I strive for money to own things, but for money to do things, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, we did only order chips, didn't we? Because the menu was so expensive.
Yeah,
lunch.
Exactly. Yeah.
And we didn't drink any alcohol because it was too expensive, and we're being conscious.
I've strangely thought in the past that it would be great to be in a position where you can eat out 3 times a day, and order anything without a care.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know where that came from.
Yeah,
or stuck in my mind. But the funny thing is, like, whilst we're here, that is exactly what we can do, because it's so cheap. Mm-hmm. You know, a meal costs 11 quid, and that's a good meal. If you really want to,
but that's for 2 people and 2 drinks.
If you want to blow it, you're paying like 15 quid a meal, and that's with like 3 drinks, dessert, starters, and 2 mains. Yeah. It's like 50, maybe 20 quid.
Yeah.
And that's like blowing it.
Yeah.
So, you know, you could say, I'm here.
I've done it. I've made it.
Exactly where I visioned that I want to be. But it's the feeling of temporary, I guess. Because if there was like the pressure of the rest of life taken off, and it's like, oh, this is how it is now, then yeah, I'm here, because I can eat out 3 times a week and I can spend all the money on meals, you know, albeit cheap meals.
You can tell Ross really likes his food.
But I know that we're not going to live here forever. Yeah. And there will be times where we'll be in much more expensive places. I think anywhere is pretty much more expensive than this place. And, you know, we won't be able to do that. So, yeah, on one hand, you could say, well, you could just live here. So it's a feeling of temporary. I want that feeling to be permanent.
Okay.
And it was exactly the same when we went back to the location. It was like, yeah, great, I'm here. Done, kind of tick that box of what I thought I wanted to do, and I'm here now. But then I wrote another note, you know, about what I need to do next.
So stay tuned for 8 months later for Ross's update on his Evernote.
Yeah. Are you the same though? It sounds like you're very different.
Yeah. Oh my God, I'm so different. I think the biggest difference between you and me is that although I projected good confidence and stuff, the self-value and self-belief that I have or had in myself was low. So I am, every day that we have been in Bali in particular, I am in constant amazement that we're back here. It sounds like a real shitty thing to say, but how many people get to go back to their honeymoon and experience the same feelings and people and area for a month after they've got married?
Yeah.
Probably not very many. And I feel like so grateful and proud and just amazed by the whole thing, really.
Yeah.
But I think because you have quite a high expectation of yourself, we were kind of chatting about a similar thing the other day, and we were saying, what is better, that I have a lower self-worth but I'm every day walking around fucking starry-eyed, or you are, just pushing for more?
Yeah.
And have kind of the bigger vision. I guess I feel like if I can be a bit better than yesterday, then that's progression, right? I've never been one for visualizing things, but you are.
Yeah, I think it comes from, it comes from childhood, doesn't it then?
Yeah.
Because it's like all down, I agree, it's down to the expectation you have of yourself. And that must come at an early age. I think it's always come at an early age. And that's kind of shapes, when I said about whether you look back, current or forward, I think that shapes that as well.
Yeah.
It's what you expect of yourself.
Yeah.
And we don't know the answer. I don't know the answer as to what's better. Is it better to be like you, where you're very, I suppose, more grateful, or
more
like
progressive,
me, where you're...
But I wouldn't say I'm not progressive, and then I wouldn't say that you aren't grateful.
Yeah, exactly. We've both got both of those, but it's just in different measures.
Yeah.
Because I'm not like this crazy looking forward guy that doesn't give a shit about today. I very much take moments to enjoy what's happening. I actually feel like I take too many moments. I feel like I'm too happy with the day. I do.
Oh, babe.
I didn't never think about it, because if I feel like I'm not moving quick enough, which is kind of where the whole question came about. I feel the reason for that is because I'm too busy being pleased where I am now.
Yeah,
honestly,
that's true.
And I'm not hungry enough. I've seen so many people that have gone from sort of big trauma to big riches, I guess, and it seems like they've gone through pain and struggling, and then it gives them that like real hunger to move forward. Now I think I've got a lot of hunger, but the question I ask myself is, am I too happy here to really drive forward?
Yeah.
And do what needs to be done, I guess.
So if I leave you, you'll start the next Facebook then?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I do think it's
That's a whole different question, by the way, about couples.
It's just started to rain, by the way, if anyone
can hear. A whole
can
different
hear.
question, though, about couples, because how many... when I have seen loads of different stories of people that have risen to the top business-wise, how many of them did that whilst in a relationship? And in particular, a relationship, like ours, or married, where they take a lot of time. How many did that?
A lot of time. What do you mean?
Well, just a lot of time. We spend a lot of time. Like, come an evening.
Yeah.
If you're single and
you
you're
could be
23,
working until 3 a.m.
then you're working till 3 a.m. You're bored out of your mind. Well, I'm stereotyping now, but you could be bored out of your mind. It's just I see it the same way as how couples struggle to get as fit, bodies.
Because you're eating nice meals and...
Well, you're enjoying each other's company, and that's giving you satisfaction. Whereas when you're single, you're hungry to, improve your body, and you're gymming every day, potentially, if you want to go and get a girlfriend.
Yeah.
So, some guys I know that gym every day to get great bodies, and you think, damn, how do I get a body like that? But I don't know if it's like goes way beyond, the motivation to go to the gym. And I think being in a couple changes the dynamic of your motivation.
Well, it's just your
Gym-wise.
priority, isn't it? Your priorities change. They don't slip, they change. I prioritise finishing work early to go to the cinema and to have a nice evening.
I know, that's it. And that's what I do. So I think we're not getting anywhere closer to answers here. More questions.
Answers.
More questions. Yeah, we need some help. Is it better to have a mindset where you value yourself less and therefore are more grateful, or have high expectations of yourself and trying to fulfill that?
Yeah, that's a really good question.
Can you be in a couple and get ripped? If so,
Get
how?
ripped. And rich.
And rich, yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Without too much sacrifice.
Yeah.
This week, I've had you struggling a lot with your businesses. So, how have you found working from here?
Yeah, it's been since I've left Social Chain, it's been a struggle. Like getting into the groove of being self-employed. Since being here, or kind of since leaving Manchester, my routine, focus, discipline, it's been really difficult to bring to the forefront. The podcast is like the new shiny baby that I want to help you put together, and I want to work on it. But then obviously Teta 6 Stories, from a very like mundane customer service point of view, to mundane but important, to actually getting my head into what needs to happen has been tricky, and I haven't really done. I feel like I've had a few progressive conversations this week, but that's not enough really to push Teta in particular forward. And I'm struggling to know what to do.
Yeah.
I think it's because I know that you've said that you'll help, but I've got so much going on up in my mind that it would take all day to like sit down and explain everything, all of the decisions that have been made so far and why we've made them, and yeah, I don't know. I'm stuck in my mind with it, really.
Yeah. Okay. And how is the location, being 7 hours ahead of the UK, adding to the mix of that?
Really difficult, because I'm relying a lot on people in the UK to get stuff done or come back to me with quotes and stuff. So, although it's so important, it's so easy to let things slip. Like, I'll just phone them tomorrow. I'm out for dinner now. I'll phone them tomorrow. And then all of a sudden it's like Friday, and you wanted to get everything sorted by
this
Friday.
Week, yeah.
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 So, yeah, time difference has been more than inconvenient. In most instances, though, because actually... Sorry, just some random birds. With the customer service side of things, I'm finding that I can be more international because I'm awake when the UK is asleep.
Right.
So I feel like I'm getting back to people quicker, which is weird, or getting back to more people. And I think the activity in my Etsy, without going too deep into the platform, activity all the time on Etsy has done some algorithm magic, I think, to get me more visibility.
Yeah.
I think. I'm not sure. It might be because I've tinkered with my listings. But so me working whilst the UK is asleep, and then them working to have like a 24-hour cycle of things is quite good. But at the moment, we're not at that point on all of the businesses.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So on 6 Stories, it's easier for there to be work at home because it's a little bit more established.
Yeah, you have a product out, you've got a manufacturer, and it's rolling. And you're saying that the customer service you can do easier ahead of time.
Kind of,
here.
yeah.
Okay. What about on the flip side with Teta? Because the manufacturing isn't set up yet, is it?
No.
So how's the time helping or hindering that?
Yeah, so like we had suppliers in place before I left the UK. Well, in place to a degree. We'd found people that we thought were going to help us, and then it transpires that they can't help. So now we're back to bloody square one. So, yeah, just getting on the phone is really difficult. And, yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult because, you know, not only is it like, oh, hi, I'm completely new, I've got this new need, and I'm not sure about a lot of things, and also I'm 8 hours ahead. It's just like another blocker in building a relationship, and it shouldn't be, but, you know, we're all humans at the end of the day, and we just want simple. So I found it quite difficult just to build relationships with companies.
Yeah, and also I would say, though, it's because you can't do things yourself.
Yeah.
So all of those like gaps that you would fill in by doing yourself.
Yeah, definitely. Just like
because you haven't got the stuff. You
stitching
can't
prototypes or creating little videos to put online, or things like my bloody SIM card's not working here. You know, so very quickly you come to a grinding halt if your tech isn't working, or you haven't got people that are reliable at home, or, you know, luckily the people are good. But yeah, I mean, on one hand, the naivety of Teta got it off the ground and got it to where it is today. But then on the other hand, I was incredibly naive to think it would be easy to do.
Yeah. Do you think, had you not been in Bali now, if you were still at home, do you think it'd be further along?
Definitely.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. For everything from my focus on it to being in the same country where I can jump in a car and I can drive to Nottingham to have the conversations with the company that I am having at the moment. Do you know what I mean? At the moment, everything is just taking sweet time. And like, I'm having to order stuff on Amazon, which is then being delivered to address X, which is then being moved to address Z, and then that person is doing that for me, and like, it's just so complicated, and it shouldn't be. That's my biggest frustration with it. Like, it's so complicated, but in my mind it's not. It's like very fucking simple, but
right.
I just can't get.
What can't you get?
I just can't get tassels stitched onto a t-shirt.
No, but what can't you get?
I can't get support from people. Right. I can get support from people. I can't get support from companies.
Can't get support from companies?
Yeah. To help me do it. Because it's a big contract, really. It's a big, small contract. It's a big first contract. And in my mind, the common sense thing is to get that sorted, and then that will mean that that can be sorted, and then that will mean that that can be sorted. But because I haven't got the first stage sorted out, I can't order the garments, I can't order the packaging, I can't. And then little things like our fantastic designer had a really awful family loss. So she's been off the radar for a couple of weeks, which, you know, obviously that's fine.
Yeah.
But, you know, all of these things are really holding us up. Should I give an overview around what it is? Okay, so Teta was an idea that was started by myself and my cousin, Georgia. Georgia has just got over breast cancer. She's the same age as me. She had to go through chemo and have a double mastectomy, and it's been a pretty hellish year for her. Now, to anybody, and I expect there's the majority of people will have experienced this, but you know, when someone is going through something like that, they're not only feeling like shit, but they're off work, they're feeling bored, you know, they lack a bit of purpose during that time. And I was creating tassels for our tutus, and I was thinking about how we could stitch these tassels onto t-shirts in a boob shape, and give some money to charity per t-shirt that was sold. And you know, boobs are very in fashion at the moment. But the kind of the USP is that all of the tassels were being made by a group of girls that are dealing with cancer. So it's kind of bringing those girls together for another common reason other than cancer, getting them crafty and getting them doing something where they know that they're giving back, giving them some purpose, basically, knowing that every tassel, and they're lovely, it's a lovely little thing to make. You feel very, it's a kind of a Moorish thing to do. So I thought about that back in September and spoke to Georgia about it. We decided to launch a Kickstarter, and within 2 weeks over December, we smashed our target and hit 12k. So we now have roughly 500 orders through Kickstarter that we need to fulfill. So that is what Teta is. Now, our my little sister has come on board and is sending out tassel kits on my behalf to all of the people that want to be involved. We've got about 25 girls that are involved that are going to start making some tassels for us whilst they're feeling unwell. And we're going to get them in a little WhatsApp group, and it's going to be a really nice little community where the girls can chat and come to us for a laugh or a cry or just share their tassel triumphs and shit. So that's the concept, and it's overwhelming really how many people love it and the support that we've got from it, which is what's keeping me going and why I feel disappointed in how I'm managing it at the moment. But every time I talk about it, I feel very overwhelmed, as you can tell. And it doesn't really get me anywhere.
Yeah.
It's because I'm not being told what I should and shouldn't do.
Okay, but who are you waiting to tell you?
My boss.
And who's that?
Well, no one. That's the problem.
Exactly.
Normally, for something of this magnitude, there is some guidance, and I don't have any. I'm the one that's supposed to have the answers, but I don't. I just have questions.
It's all part of figuring it out, isn't it?
Yeah. And
and you've made a lot of progress this week.
Yeah. I mean, as overwhelmed as I feel, I don't feel like jacking it in. I feel like it's good. Can you feel positively overwhelmed, or is that just rubbish?
Yeah, you can.
Because I know that I'm going to learn a lot from it, and I know, and I really, you said the other day, I just can't imagine you actually getting to the end of it. I can't see tassels and t-shirts, and I can't see you sending them out. I can really clearly see them being sent out.
Good.
So yes, I could move quicker. I'm trying to. I don't know what the mental block is. It's because I don't know what to do next.
Just the first step you need to focus on.
Yeah, and I know that once that is like, once I've had that moment of that light bulb moment, I feel like it'll just be an avalanche to happy customers.
I'm sure it might be a bit more challenging than that. Okay, so I guess we'll keep you posted.
Yeah, on the Teta front.
And hopefully, come the next episode, you'll be saying we've absolutely started step 1.
Yeah. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Please keep your feedback coming in. We've loved hearing it so far. If you'd like to follow us visually, me, please jump over onto our Instagram. We give daily updates on our story, and we've got some really nice pictures of landscapes and things that we've been up to in our feed over the last couple of weeks. Also, if you've enjoyed this episode, please head over to iTunes to leave us a review. It means the world. So once again, thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you next week.